Hi, this is Becky with Icing on Top Becky's Cakes, and today we're going to make these adorable little monster Valentine's Day cakes. And so here, let's get started. First, we're going to start with these round balls, cake balls, and I bought these candy eyeballs from Wilton, and also from Wilton are these candy heart sprinkles. And this will just make it easy. Yes, you can pipe on your own eyeballs, but I decided to make it super easy, and we're just going to pop on the eyeballs. Now this pan you might recognize if you got into the hot chocolate ball craze. So we just use those to bake our spheres instead of the cupcake pan. And then we're going to use some of this chocolate that we're going to melt. You can use chocolate chips if you don't want to use this. And we're going to melt it at 30-second intervals in the microwave, and then I'm just going to go ahead and put that into a piping bag. Now on the end of this piping bag is a round tip, a large round tip, and that's going to help control it a little more. You can just cut a hole in the end of the piping bag if you want. I feel like it has a little more control when it has a piping tip in it, so I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and pipe little chocolate sticks that we're going to use for our monster's antenna, and so we're gonna have fun with these. We're just gonna pour the chocolate right in there. I have it in a glass jar just because it keeps it steady for me, and that makes it so that I don't have to try to hold it and pour chocolate at the same time. I like something else to hold it in place. I have a paper towel ready because this will be messy once I pull it out. I'm kind of shaking it down so I can hold my bag correctly, and I didn't want to be spraying chocolate everywhere, so that is good to have ready ahead of time. So I'm just going to wipe the tip, and then I'm going to draw some chocolate lines. Just apply a teeny bit of pressure as I pull up, and then I release the pressure and let that dribble off there. Sometimes you just pull your hand back a little bit and that little drip will be right there on your chocolate. And make a little bit of a mess here. Chocolate is very messy, so it is not the same thing as piping buttercream. Chocolate usually makes a good mess, so I'm going to make a few extra also because some of these could break when you try to put them into your monster. So I want to, just in case any breaks, we're going to make a few extra. And we'll just go ahead and make the rest of these. And then if you want to make a couple of fun ones, we're going to give a little swirl. So if you want to get a little creative, you can give a little swirl to some of these and have some really fun little monsters. And by the time we're done piping, the sticks have been kind of drying out. So we want to add a little bit of chocolate to the end of these hearts before we stick them onto the antenna. Otherwise, they will not stick at this point, because that chocolate should be hardening up right about now. So add a little bit of chocolate that is still wet, and then we can stick it on. And then once we get all of these on, all the hearts on, everything, I'm just gonna pop it in the fridge, and that'll keep them nice and cool and be really easy just to lift right off. And this parchment paper that I have it on, yeah, it comes right off, not a problem at all. Okay, so we put our two spheres together, and we have a little bit of buttercream in between. I'm using the 233 Wilton tip, and I'm going to start by piping a layer all around the bottom. Once I get all the way around the bottom, then we're going to just pipe the next row. Tip is also known as the grass tip, as people usually use it for piping grass and stuff on their cakes. And what we're going to do is we're going to pipe, let it build a little in one spot, and then as we are pulling away, we are still applying pressure to our bag. So let's see if we can get a close-up here. We're going to pipe, let it build, and then we pull away, and we still have a little bit of pressure as we're pulling away. And the more pressure that you maintain as you're pulling away, the longer those strands of hair can be. So as I get closer to the top, I like it to be a little longer, so I continue with the pressure just a little longer as I pull away. And then I release the pressure and then keep pulling back, and that gives us a hair strand. talking about hair and cake, usually that does not go together, but in the case of monster chocolate cake, it definitely does. Okay, let me slow this down for you so you can really see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna pipe, squeeze my bag, let it build, and then I'm pulling away and I'm still applying pressure. Then I release the pressure and keep pulling. And there, it gives you a nice long piece of monster hair there. So it's a lot of fun, really. How I hold my bag is I always make sure that my thumb and my fingers are keeping that buttercream down. So I'm always applying pressure at the top of the bag. It is twisted so that the buttercream does not come out and go all over my hand. And so I hold it firmly there and I twist as I go. So if I've used some buttercream, I pull down, twist, and then I apply pressure again. And that way your hand up here is doing all the work. And so that's just how I hold my piping bags. See me apply the pressure right there. As I apply the pressure, you can see the buttercream come right out. And I always keep a paper towel on hand because you want to make sure that you keep wiping that tip so that if it gets all covered, then you're not going to get nice defined hair strands on your cake. The monster hair strands. So we make sure we preface that right. Okay, now towards the top, we're still building up our monster's hair, and we're having a lot of fun with this. Now we're just going to place these little mini marshmallows as our feet right there at the bottom, and I'll press in. And then if you do want to move this little guy later, I can pop them in the fridge, and then you can slide a spatula underneath them and move them to wherever you want. I'm going to take our eye candy. I'm going to put a little bit of buttercream on the end because you want fresh buttercream on it so that it'll stick where we want it to go. And then I will gently press that eye right onto the cake, and then do the exact same thing with the other one. I'm just using a wooden skewer first to drive down into my little monster. That just creates a hole on either side where I want to place his antenna. And by making the hole ahead of time, it doesn't make you have to work as hard with the chocolate, and so it just slides in a little easier. I'm going to take that little antenna and I'm just going to slide it in. I'm using one of my curly antennas for this one. I thought it was super cute. And then I'm just going to do the exact same thing to the other side and just press it all the way in so that the cake is supporting the chocolate, and that way the chocolate will not fall over. So there's our cute little guy. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I know I did. Try out all the different colors, and the quickest way to get red, a lot of people ask me, I use AmeriColor Super Red. So that's the color that I used when I made the red one. So if you're trying out the red one, go ahead and try out AmeriColor. That was my favorite gel food coloring to get this guy nice and red. Please subscribe to my channel.